Hi, this is Mama from Mama Stitchery Projects, and this is the tutorial for the little checks wrap. And first, a few things about the little checks wrap. If you want the full instructions, I will have the URL in the description of the video. And a few things about the wrap. The wrap consists of 4 panels that are all made at the same time. And it also includes a tie that ties at the neckline, which is also included, and does not necessarily need to have any trim added or anything done after the fact. Everything is made at the same time. And another note about the little checks wrap is that it's a one-size-fits-all. It can be altered in size just by adding more rows. So you can sort of decide as you go how big you want it to be, which is how long it is. It's a drapey wrap. It drapes at the shoulders. So the bigger it gets, the more drapey it will be. The more fabric would be around the hem. So the wrap, again, it includes the tie. So the beginning chain that you make will have part of the tie that's at the neckline and part of the foundation chain. And not to bore you with all my chaining, I went ahead and made my beginning chain of 131. And I'm going to show you how I finished it out. So I've done 131 chains. And to finish that, what I do is I make 2 more chains, and then, and I couldn't find scissors, so I've got an interesting tool here, but I cut and then pull that end through, and kind of using my thumbnail I push back, and it kind of absorbs those last 2 chains into the knot and makes a secure knot there. Now the other thing I didn't want to bore you with was counting the first 40 chains, which is what we do. We skip the first 40 chains to begin working on the actual body of the wrap. So the first 40 chains is part of the tie. So what you'll do is with these ends where these little ends are sticking out here, the raggedy ends of the yarn, just use a yarn needle and tuck those in here, make them look neat, and those are your ties, and they're already done. So we're going to skip, this is marking the 40th chain, and we're actually going to skip it, and starting in the 41st chain, we'll begin our directions for row 1. Now, another little thing I wanted to show you about row 1, and starting it with a DC. The way that the directions read is they say double crochet in each of the next 4 chains. Well, that first double crochet can be done a couple of different ways, so I wanted to show you those techniques. So getting some more yarn. First of all, when I make a slip knot, I hold my yarn around my needle and just pinch it together with my fingers and make 2 chains, and then pull it, and that makes a slip knot. And you don't have to, it's just my quick little trick. You can do it however you like. But start with a slip knot, and the way some people like to do a double crochet starting in a chain like this is, instead of doing a double crochet, first doing a slip stitch into that 41st chain, and then making 3 chain stitches and counting that as your first double crochet, and then doing your yarn over to then do a double crochet into the next stitch, etc. Like that. Now what I do, and this again is just personal preference, let me get my slip stitch back on my hook. I just sort of pretend that I have another stitch right beside this one instead of this lone slip stitch floating around in my needle. And I'll start to make a double crochet by yarning over, just like I would always do a double crochet. And then I insert my hook into the chain, drop a loop like I would always do for a double crochet. But notice that that initial loop, I'm holding it with my thumb. I don't want it sliding around and turning around and around my hook. So while I'm holding it with my thumb, I yarn over and pull through 2 of the loops, and then yarn over again, and this time I'll pull through the 2 remaining loops, which includes that initial slip stitch, or the slip knot that I made. And there's a double crochet, and it's not attached to anything, it's just the first stitch. So that's my preference, that's what I always do, but do whatever you like. But you want to have a total of 4 double crochet stitches here, just moving along these chain stitches. So for the first row, we're not going to see the checks appear yet. The first row is just going to create the shape. It's going to create the angles where the increases are going to be made, and get us set up. It gives us a foundation row that later we'll see the checks form. So we've made 4 double crochets, and then in this next chain we're going to make 2 double crochets. And then we're going to do 8 double crochets, moving along. 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, and now I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the next chain, and then in the next chain we'll just do 1, and then in the next we'll do 2. So in the next 3 chains I will have a total of 5 double crochets. So I'm going to do 2 in this one, 1, 2, and then just do 1 in this one, and then do 2 in this one. Alright, now I'm going to do another 8 double crochets going along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 2 in this chain. 1, 2, 1 in this chain. Whoops, missed it. And then 2 in this chain. And then again 8. 1. Keep dropping. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8. And then again I'm going to put 2. And then 1. And then 2. And so I've done, kind of go back and count. There's 1 set, and there's another set, and there's another set. So I need to have 4 sets of these 8 double crochets once it's all done with. So I've got 1 more set of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this time I'm just going to have 1 set of 2 double crochet in a chain, and then finish up with double crochets at the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that is row 1. And again, it's kind of flat and boring, but it makes a little bit more of a solid edge for the neckline, and also makes our foundation row so that now we can begin the checks. And we're gonna make shells, which are 2 double crochets and 1 chain and 2 double crochets in a given space. And then we're going to have the checks, which has a technique of going in between stitches, which I'll show you. This is actually very easy. Once you get the hang of making these little checks, it's really, really easy, and this will go really fast for you. So for row 2, we're going to chain 3 and turn, and then we're going to shell in the 4th double crochet. So our chain came out of the first one, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the 4th one. And I'm going in under both stitches, under both loops, I should say, both loops. And this makes it reversible. And since we're crocheting back and forth and back and forth, I want this to look the same on the front and the back. I don't really want it to have a front and the back, so that kind of makes it look the same on both sides. Alright, so 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and a chain. Well, if I don't drop it. Chain, and then 2 double crochet. So that is our first shell. Now then, skip 2 double crochet. So I just went into this one. So I've got 1, 2 that I'm going to skip. Now, this is the double crochet I'm on. This is the next double crochet. In between that hole right there is where we're going to be working. You're going to make 2 double crochets in this space between. So again, we did our shell in this double crochet, and we're going to skip 2. See, we're skipping these 2, and then we're going to make the check in this hole. So right through there. And this is it, folks. Once you get that, this is going to go so fast. Now then, you're going to skip 2 more. So you went in between these 2. There's a double crochet, there's a double crochet. So there's the hole in between. Make 2 more stitches there. And then skip this one, skip this one. See? And make 2 double crochet there. Easy. Yes, it is. Easy, easy. And this actually goes pretty fast, because I think once you get the hang of looking for those spaces between the stitches, what you'll find is it's actually faster than looking for the loops on the top. And after we get these initial shells made, most everything is going to be made in spaces, except for the very ends and whatnot. So I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these checks. Now I need to do a shell. So I'm going to skip 2 of the double crochets, and I'm going to shell in this one. So remember, a shell is 2 double crochets and a chain and 2 double crochets. And then for the next check, I use this double crochet, so I'm going to skip this one. So between these two, this hole, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. The other thing you'll find, I'll skip to another one. The other thing you'll find is after you get this first row, you won't have to look for these holes anymore. Whoops, I made a chain, I just deleted it. I didn't need a chain. I don't know why I did that. Because now that we've established where the checks are, you can see that they already have a hole in between them. See? So when you come back through on your next row, you know exactly where you're going to be putting all your stitches. It's going to be obvious where you're going to go for your double crochets. So this first row, you have to kind of pay, or this is row 2, but the first row of these checks, which is row 2, you kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing and count off and make sure that you're skipping 2 stitches every time. But after that, it's all done for you. It's really easy, and it's mindless, and you can do this really quick, really easy, but it looks really nice. So I've done 5 of these again. So this time I'm going to skip 2, and in that 3rd stitch I'm going to make my shell. Alright, and then skip 2. Whoops, again, I made a chain I shouldn't have. I don't know why I keep doing that. You're not making any chains except in the shells. Let's see, I've made the shell, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 checks. I need one more check. And then skip 2, and then the 3rd one here I'm going to make a shell. Then skip 2 and make a check. Shell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now skip 2 and make a shell. And then I just make a double crochet in the last stitch. Easy, easy, easy. So it's already starting to take a shape. You can see where the panels are being separated, or where the increases are kind of separating this into panels, and you can see the angles. of this. Now going forward, this is so easy because now you can see exactly where everything's going to go. The only places where you're going to make stitches in the loops of other stitches is on the very ends. Just those double crochets in the very ends. Everything else you're going to work shells into shells. Shell into the chain space of this shell. And then between the shells and the checks, you'll work checks. So here's the space of the shell. This is the shell, the other part of the shell, and the next check. So in this hole, I do a check. I do 2 double crochets. Then in the next hole, 2 double crochets. It doesn't get much easier than that. And I'll just work my way to the next shell and make sure that we've got this, and I think you've got it. And I think we can end this video on that. Now last row we had 5 checks in each panel. This row we will have 6 checks in each panel. Every row you'll have an additional check in each panel. So the last check here I put was between the last check and this shell. And so here's my shell, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 this row, and then I'm going to make a shell into this shell. And then make a check in the next hole. And that's it. Just keep going like that until it's as long as you want. And then I do have instructions for a final row, but the final row is basically just making a double crochet in every space, and then at the corners you will do a little extra bit just because of the shaping. But that's it. A very, very easy wrap. I think you'll really enjoy making these because they're so easy, and once you get this set up, they go really fast. Thank you for watching. Bye.